Stats are important. Without them, what would nerds like myself do in order to pass the time? And with stats comes records, measuring sticks we fans use to define what greatness is. And the NHL is not short on records. Believe me, there seems to be a record for everything, including most mustaches on the ice at the same time. As they say, records are made to be broken, but here are 5 NHL records I believe may never be broken. And before I get into this, leave a like, comment, or subscribe because stats like that matter to me too. Number 5. Single season goal record, Wayne Gretzky, 92 goals. I'm going to get Wayne Gretzky out of the way. Before you fire up the comment button, let it be known that I could just make this entire list just for Wayne Gretzky, but that would be boring. But I'm going to put up 2 of his records on this list. The career leader in goals, assists, playoff goals, single season assists, you name it. Gretzky has just about every major scoring record possible. However, the one I find to be the most unbreakable is his most goals in one season. Hey, now, look at goal scoring today. Last year, Ovechkin led the league with 50 goals, which was a monster year. Still 42 short of the record. At that pace, Ovechkin would need the season to be 70 more games just to tie the record. The closest anyone has ever come to the record was, well, Wayne Gretzky himself with 87 in 1984. And the last real stab at it was Brett Hull in 1991 with 86. And Mario Lemieux with 85 in 1989. And then scoring tallies curiously decline after that, and it isn't hard to tell why. Just look at the goalies from the 80s and the early 90s to the goalies now. One looks like a serial killer wearing catcher's mitts attached to his legs, and the other looks like he's ready to transform into a sick yellow Camaro ready to stop an alien robot invasion. And with the change in equipment came the butterfly and hybrid style tendies. And if you ask me, more science than ever has been applied to the trade of protecting the pipes. And unless the league decides to strip down the goalies to their skivvies again or make the goals bigger, something I find absolutely ludicrous, I see no way anyone comes close to the great one single season tally. In fact, scoring is so down in the league that had Gretzky done his record in 2015 and his goals were the only points that he scored, he still would have won the Art Ross Trophy by 5 points. Jamie Benn won it, by the way, with only 87 that year. And no, there was no lockout either. So for me, I don't see anyone, even for how amazing the players are that we have in this league, coming close to this record anytime soon. Number 4, most games played in the Stanley Cup Finals, Red Kelly and Henri Richard, both with 65. This record is a bit more obscure, but so totally unbreakable. I'll have to break down the math of why it would be so difficult for anyone to do this. These 2 legends won an amazing 20 cups between them. 8 for Kelly, 4 with the Red Wings and 4 with the Maple Leafs. And Richard has his name etched 12 times, all with the Canadiens. Winning all those cups meant these guys made it to the finals a lot. However, the big wrinkle in the record is that these players played many of their finals games before the current 4-round best-of-7 game format we see today, which to me is the most grueling and difficult championship in all of sports, unless they give out a trophy for listening to Stephen A. Smith argue with Skip Bayless for more than 5 minutes. Seriously though, the current playoff format of all 4 rounds being the best of 7 started in 1994, nearly 23 years ago, and in 1973 when Richard won his last cup, the league was in the middle of the expansion era, which reached its peak in 1979 when the WHA and the NHL finally merged. Still, only 18 teams were in the league in 1973. And in 1950 when Red Kelly won his first cup, he only had to play in 14 playoff games to do so, and there were also only 6 teams and 2 rounds of the playoffs. And luck would have it that the finals against the Rangers went 7 games. So you get it, Kelly and Richard played in an era where it was much easier to get to the finals, and I'm not here to debate that, but let's look at what it would take, however, to break this record. At 65 games in the finals, the minimum required appearances to get to that many games would be 10. and each series would have to go 7 games until then that 10th one where the player would only have to play in at least 3 games. So in order to get to each of those 10 finals over a decade, the player would have to win a minimum of 147 playoff games. That means 12 for each, 12 to advance to the finals, and they'd have to have 3 wins in the finals each of the times that they advance. They would not have to win every cup, though. That's just absurd. Say it gets spread out over a 20-year career. That means the player would have to make the finals pretty much every other year for their entire career. Not in this era where deep playoff runs to the conference finals or finals take a lot out of teams, as the playoffs start wrapping up during the peak of bikini season now, and a brand new season starts when pumpkin spice hits the shelves. The all-time leader in playoff games played, period, Chris Chelios, has 266, only appeared in 4 finals in his long, elite 27-year career, giving him a total of 23 finals games. 23. The record is 65. Mr. Clutch Mark Messier is actually next on the list, as he played in 6 cup finals over his 28-year career, giving him 32 finals games, half the record. So yeah, this record will not be broken, period. Number 3, most consecutive 50 or more goal seasons, Mike Bossy, 1977 to 1986, with 9. I know this is another goal-related record, but I had to give a shout-out to the player Wayne Gretzky himself said was the greatest goal scorer he has ever seen. From 1977 to 1986, Bossy, the Hall of Fame right winger, demanding and grueling runs in sports history, as the Isles won 4 cups in a row in the 1980s. What's amazing about Bossy is, had he remained healthy, who knows how long this streak could have lasted, as he retired in 1987 after only 10 seasons in the NHL. After a season where he only played 63 games and still managed to pot 38 goals on a back that looked worse than Sir Smoke-A-Lots. It's a shame injuries cost Bossy a chance at some serious records. And had he played 20 career goals, of course no way you could know whether he would continue that pace of goal scoring, but Bossy would have definitely contended for Wayne's all-time record of 894 and would have likely passed Gordie Howe's tally of 801. Looking at what it would take to break Bossy's record in today's NHL, Alex Ovechkin likely has the best chance, as he has the most 50-goal seasons of the active players with 6, but the most he's put together in a row is 3, which he has done twice, and he's on a current streak of 3 straight. Though this year he is in jeopardy, as he only has 26 goals so far in 56 games, a pace for 38 total. He'll have to step it up a notch to get to 50 this year, and then do it again for 5 more years. He is also 32, and he'd be 37 in the year he could conceivably tie Bossy's record. I suppose someone really young like McDavid, Laine, Matthews, Marner, or Eichel could come along, but whoa, let's let these guys have one 50-goal season before we talk about 9 straight. And just like us dating a supermodel, of course there is a chance. Slim to none is what the chance is called. Number 2, most saves by a goaltender in a playoffs overtime game shutout, Normie Smith, 92. I love this record for a few reasons. First of all, it's absolutely absurd, both the statistic of 92 saves in one game, and to top it off, that's a shutout, and it was in a playoff game. Next, you have the circumstances that led to what many people say is one of the greatest hockey games of all time. On March 24th, 1936, the Detroit Red Wings played the Montreal Maroons in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in front of 9,000 fans in the Montreal Forum. What the fans didn't know at the time was the game would go into 6 overtimes, and the game was finally and mercifully ended by Mud Broughton after 176 minutes had been played, the longest hockey game ever. And Normie Smith, featured in this picture, made 92 saves and recording the most super-duper shutout in the history of ever. Also, if you notice in this picture, he doesn't have a mask on. It's not a warm-up picture. Goalies didn't wear a mask back then. I mean, in the 1930s were rough enough as it was. You know, dealing with unclean water, typhoid, Hitler getting ready to invade Europe, the Depression, and then your name is Normie, and they put you in goal and say, hey, here's your mitt and a few knapsacks strapped to your legs. Stop everything that comes your way, could ya? I don't really need to explain how unbreakable this record is, because the circumstances required to recreate a 6 OT game in the modern era would be outrageous. Plus the volume of on-net shots in today's NHL, and one not going in for 3 hours of game. Think about how actually long a 6 OT game would be. 3 hours is just clock running. Remember, there would also be 8 intermissions you'd have to endure, and at 18 minutes apiece, that's an additional 2.4 hours of eating soft pretzels combined with stoppage, TV timeouts. So yeah, if it were an 8 p.m. start, the game would likely end about 8 hours later, or 4 a.m. the following day. Screw that noise. Anyways, Ron Tugnut made 70 saves on 73 shots in 1991, and that's not even close to this record. So yes, it's unbreakable, like Pierre Maguire's love for Sidney Crosby. Before I get into the number 1 unbreakable record, here are a few honorable mentions. Number 1, most consecutive Hart trophies, Wayne Gretzky, 8. Of course, the great one had to make it on this list again, and this time it isn't a scoring record. It's the fact that from 1980 to 1987, Gretzky won every single Hart trophy during that time. And technically, 1980 was the first year he was eligible to win it, as he played 1 year in the WHA before the Oilers were made part of the NHL. So essentially, the dude comes into the league and wins 8 straight MVPs. Barry Bonds has 7 MVPs, 4 of which were seasons where he could have pissed on a seed and it would have been a full-grown tree in 10 minutes. He had so many damn steroids in him. Michael Jordan won 5, and they were not consecutive. Tom Brady, arguably the greatest QB ever, only has 2. 2! It's seriously hard to win an MVP, and Gretzky did it for nearly a decade. To me, that is unbreakable, especially in today's salary cap era and marketing-driven league, where you can almost expect a new name to get the trophy every year. Ovechkin is the active leader in Harts with just 3, and again, don't see him reeling off 8 straight. He is 32. You're more likely to try and fart and give up a little something extra 8 times in a row than to ever see this record broken, or as I like to call that, winning the Shark Trophy. Heyo! Agree with my list? Got any other NHL records you think are unbreakable? Leave a comment below, and as always, subscribe. Oh, and if you're gonna leave hate, at least be clever about it, bitch. I'm 5 Points Gaming, and you made it to the end of this video.